Senator, so there are various ways of looking at this conversation. And I always like saying, let's not conflate issues. We can bring a conversation here and say, but why are counties not raising their own revenues, own source revenues to higher levels? That's a conversation, yes. It's a justifiable conversation, yes. The money that goes to counties, how are they spending it? Look, Control of Budget is telling us they're cooling chai and mandas, and they're traveling all over the country and spending so much money. Yeah. How they're spending the money, that's another issue. And those are all good issues. And then there's a shareable revenue, which is also in law, as a source of financing and funding county operations. Let's not mix those three. Let's deal with one at a time.
Correct.
Today, let's deal with this one. There is shareable revenue.
Correct.
That is determined at national level. Governors sit together with the National Treasury chaired by the Deputy President. They agree, this is it. As IBEC, let's agree. Let's negotiate and say, pesa ngapi tapatikana. We have seen the chair of IBEC in the last year's budget. He said, even if you beat us and whip us, hakuna pesa tutapata. This is what we have. We have now seen in the last negotiations on division of revenue, just like you've told us what happened, there was, the money that even the Commission on Revenue Allocation had proposed. There's what had been proposed by the Senate, and there's what ended up being the money that is to go to counties.
Correct.
Now, again, there's a reduction of that by an extra 20 billion shillings.
Yes.
Looks to me like there's an attempt to not support devolution. And it's a deliberate attempt.
Correct.
Let me give you the examples that I mean. So if you look at the justification that's given at national level on how much money will go to counties, they'll say, so the shareable revenue may be 380, but the total money that goes to counties may be 420. Because there's going to be an extra 40 billion shillings that we are going to put in as national government to go and support counties as conditional grants. Conditional grant for building industrial parks. Conditional grant for supporting health workers through CHPs. Conditional grant for building markets. Conditional grant. Those are county functions that the national government is purporting to do as feeling philanthropic to counties, but they're holding the monies. Why not put the money for building markets into money that goes to counties? Why not put money for fertilizer into money that goes to counties? Or the entirety of the budget on health that supports health workforce into counties? Why does the national government have to pay CHPs? Why?
Correct.
Why not give the money to the counties so they can pay the CHPs and total?
You should join Senate.
I've been there since 2013.
I mean, I'm liking the understandability and the same conversation we have each and every day, asking as to why some of these devolved functions, the monies are not transferred to the counties. Look at the issues of health. Health is devolved, and yet we see our medical practitioners on strike due to delayed salaries. We're also very saddened. That's early this week, I think, if I'm not wrong, on Monday or something, the young, beautiful, intelligent intern,
Yes.
a doctor, I think, who commits suicide due to work frustrations. I'm not sure the exact issue, but according to the socials, they say that she never got her dues on time. Very frustrating, and it's like we are killing devolution. It's not really, the national government is not fully supporting. Same case to the agricultural issue. It's devolved, but still the national government is holding the bigger cake, the bigger share. And that's why in the earlier start, I said monies that should be going to the national government, this deduction, this 20 billion deduction that they are removing from the division of revenue, then they should be removing from the national and redistribute it to the different ministries. Last week, I think, I don't know, was on which media, but I also said that in the near future, we might have very few people interested in even becoming the governors. I'm privileged to also, not only being the Vice Chair of Finance, to also sit in the other committee that does audit. It's called PIC. It's audit as far as special funds are concerned, the grants, the issue of the same also revenue. And you look at the audits and honestly, counties are going concern. Big problems. And governors have to answer to the queries of the previous governors. And we are at the stage whereby we've even recommended and summoned some of the former governors, one of them being Charity Ngilu, the former governor for Kitui, because of the issue of Kikotech. It looks like a crime scene that was taking place. Apart from that, you look at how losses have taken place and these institutions are still ongoing. So I wonder even the interest of governorship moving forward because of the problems that are there. But we hope if these budget cuts are not going to take place to the counties, probably and hopefully the current governors who are in place are going to change this narrative. There's been loopholes as far as on-source revenue is concerned. The targets, even what CRA presented to us in terms of the estimations from the different counties, most of them are not meeting that. There was a proposal to have an e-system that cuts across all the 47 counties, that is standard, that is able to assist in ensuring that they maximize on-source revenue from the counties. Because as we speak right now, without that, then
you don't even know
small
where the
loopholes
loopholes are.
There are causing funds to be lost.
Yeah.
So, in a nutshell, from the look of things, there's war for funds.
Yeah.
Senate, we don't have any funds. That's fine. We have some small fund, which is called the Oversight Fund, just to be able to assist in ensuring we are able to look at the projects that have been implemented by these governors. Are they running? Are they, working? What's the status? But there's war sort of between where we're coming from, the CDF, Kitty, the county government, because the National Assembly Budget Committee, when they also send these amendments to us, you realize the narrative is governors are just eating the money. We are looking at a county as if it's an it's a one entrepreneurial institution for this particular governor. This governor is eating the money. We are not really looking at the other team players, the CECs, all the employees from the lower cadre to the highest rank that need to be paid, that are working in these county governments, and their dues need to be paid and paid on time. We are just narrowing it to one individual, But I've also really challenged the governors and asked them to always have continuous engagement and also push on other matters that have really been a thorn. For example, the issue of pending bills. Oh, this one has been something else. Their response was that there was a committee for pending bills that was to verify, because you realize there's some that tunasema kwa Kiswahili hewa, so the supply was hewa. So that verification, which needs to come to a conclusion. Nairobi is leading with the highest pending bills.
Yeah.
So if you continue and cut them, because for Nairobi they were to get an additional around 20 billion. If they also increase their own source of revenue and they have their stake a bit higher, maybe, of course, they're going to try and sort some of these issues that are there, especially the issue of pending bills. Then, because if we then don't sort, then money will not be circulating. Our people will always be crying.
So, yes, that does make sense. But from an oversight perspective, would there not be need to ensure that the money that does go to counties is actually well accounted for? Because I can hear the frustration on one side when, okay, we know counties have not received money in this financial year. We know that CS Mbadi has said, okay, 32 billion will go to the counties, in a few clicks. We get that. But then just a few days ago, we've also seen that counties have had lavish spending reports of lavish spending when it comes to things like travel and other luxuries. So how do we play one from an oversight point of view? How do we ensure that even this little precious fund that is actually going to counties is secured and accounted for? What's the insistence
Correct.
on that?
A very, very good question. Even before I respond, allow me to add this, that my good friend who had talked about 380 and then maybe 40, I don't know, conditional grant and all this. You know, the 401 billion is in the Constitution. 15% is the share for the counties.
The minimum.
It's not negotiable. It's not a request. I mean, it's there in the law. As far as the 85% share is there for the national government. The other funds, in terms of the grants, their own source revenue, that's money that is also there independently. Now, there has been a misunderstanding from my view whereby at times the stakeholders and also the people ask, then Senate, when you keep on saying that there are these issues that are there, stalled project, pending bills, what do you do and what are you doing? Let me make it clear, because the same question that now you're asking. In our committees, especially the oversight committees, that is PAC and PIC, we have stakeholders. One of those stakeholders is the Auditor General's office, where we have the auditors. We have the control of budget or representative, Treasury, Ministry of Treasury. And on top of all, we have a representative from EACC. Now, when we cite that there's an illegality or a forensic audit needs to be conducted, as a committee, as senators, we recommend to the relevant body. Now, in this scenario, when we look at, because we are not experts in terms of documentation, is this document forged or not, but in the event that we are able to note that, then we immediately do those recommendations and ask EACC to probe the matter. We've done our part. We've done the recommendation. We've told them, give us a report. Go further, go deeper, bring out these issues, analyze them. You are the experts in these fields. You know, you are in a better position to get the forensic experts also for documentation to authenticate if this document is original or not, because it could just be there for the sake of the audit, but it's not a genuine document, so that you also give us feedback and take the necessary action. If EACC would fast track most of these recommendations that they get for the county governments, for the governors in short, we will not actually be where we are. So you find that the stakeholders, there's delay, because for us, we've done our part. And I've given you an example of the recommendation that we did when the current governor for Kitui, that is Governor Malombe, appeared. And we were auditing as far as Kikotech issue is concerned. And we looked at the issues, we analyzed, and we did a recommendation. And we said the SEC to look into this matter, but we said we are summoning him to come and also clarify, because the governor referred to the former, government and all that. So we are actioning, but where does our mandate stop? It stops at saying this is our recommendation. Proceed and execute this. Bring feedback to us or take action, because that is enough when we've done that recommendation. And that's where our mandate stops at. Yes. So we've done our part.
Does it extend to then seeking this agency that you've sent recommendations to, say EACC, to ask for periodic reports? What's the progress of implementation of our recommendation?
Correct.
And how often do you then call them back and say, this was our report, which we handed over to you 6 months ago. Where are you with this investigation? Are you completing the investigation?
Yeah, we do follow-ups. And you find that these matters are not, they're quite heavy matters. And the challenge we have is the time challenge. But we keep on pushing so that those matters can be closed and come to a closure. We've seen a few governors who have, like the former governor for Samburu, last month, but one or something, the court took action and is liable. We've seen of the current CS, also the courts asked him to, to do some payments as far as these cases were concerned. What I can say is that in few years to come, as we continue, more governors will be brought to book. More governors will be brought to book. And that's why I earlier reiterated and said, moving forward, if the current governors do not change the narrative of corruption, of looting that has been seen, the opulence that we've seen, then there would be less interest, because nobody would want to move from the position that they are to go to handle a messy entity. That has got so many fraudulent cases. And you see, as per Article 179 of the Constitution, clearly says for governors, you are the one who is answerable at that particular moment.
Yes.
So who wants to keep on bearing the burden of the former or the previous government in place?
You know what's been happening, Senator, is by and by, if you just look back, there's a move towards discrediting devolution. In some cases, it's using justifiable data. And you can see, proper data. This is the Control of Budgets report that says this is how the money that's going to devolution units is doing. This is the Auditor General's report showing how the money that goes to devolution is doing. It's highlighted a lot more than what's happening at the national level, which is similar. At the national level, it's the same thing. The Controller of Budget will come and tell us the national government has come and asked us for 6 billion shillings, just like that, to do some things, due operation security here, due state functions there, it's due to pay what their ICT ministry wanted 122 million shillings outside of budget, and so on and so forth. But we don't highlight as much of that because it appears to be just one entity than the 47 units that are new.
Yes.
So there's a lot of focus onto what's
The
not
counties.
working in the counties.
Yeah.
And this is where the Senate comes in. Because the Senate, you should ensure that those things that are highlighted by these official reports are actionable and the action is actually taken. And the things that are highlighted that are working are also amplified. Because if the devolution dies, Senate dies.
Correct.
There's no reason to have a Senate. Senate is actually the house that protects and champions devolution.
True.
If the Senate is not championing devolution, if all the Senate is doing is sitting back and saying, we're highlighting all these issues and we've done reports and we sit back and you don't push further, then it dies. You'll be part of the larger conspiracy that I see.
Very valid question and concern. Senate is on the forefront, especially this 13th Senate. And looking at where we are coming from, whereby, like at the current situation, whereby the National Treasury, with the current amendments, them saying that we need to reduce this. We've all refused. We are all supporting and saying, no, what the committee has recommended is what we support. And I'm happy with what senators are doing. Look at the committee levels. Today, as we speak, we stream live. And if you're keen enough, you're able to see, we grill the governors completely to answer to all these questions that are in place. Yes, the issue that is there is just the issue of the timeline in terms of this matter has been recommended for action. What is the timeline? The issue that is, the loophole that is there is that there is no exact timeline in terms of when we recommend to the EACC and say, do forensic audit, take action or this. There is no timeline that EACC, that is at EACC, that says if this governor if this report has come, then on our side as EACC, we're supposed to do this within a year. It's them.
It's open-ended.
It's open. That's the problem that is there. That's the challenge, if I would say. But then what do we do on our side? It's to keep on pushing to ensure that these matters come to a closure. Yes.
Let's conclude it there, and we thank you for joining us today. So what happens if Governor Mbadi does not release 30 billion shillings by the end of this month as promised?
We will support the governors on actually going on strike. We'll have to Andamana there.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Senator Tabitha Mutinda is the Vice Chair of the Finance and Budget Committee of the Senate. She's also a member of other Senate committees. Thank you very much for joining us. Keep it here for more conversations. In the next hour, we talk about refugee communities in the country, integration with the host communities. How do we do this? And we'll be talking to two organizations that are working very hard at that and championing creative economy and the digital economy. 8 a.m. news time.